I believe that I am the best person for the job of President of the United States. My unique talents give me the ability to be assertive and diplomatic at the same time. I'm a person who will spike the conversation, who will get politics rolling and stimulate new questions and new answers to our current political dilemma facing our nation. I believe I have a keen understanding of the economy and how to improve where we're at relative to other nations around the world. I believe that our goal at America's Third Party was to create a very strong platform in which would propel the American people forward with new opportunities and a new possibility of creating a better nation, a cleaner environment, and less war. I believe that I am the best person for the job of President of the United States. My unique talents give me the ability to be assertive and diplomatic at the same time.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to America's Third Party. I'm David Sponheim, and today is Technology Thursday. Welcome. Yes, we got people copying me. My live stream show, cooking show, has been such a success. B2 O'Rourke copied me in the primaries. Now we got other people copying me all over the internet. And, you know, I'm shadow banned on Twitter and YouTube. It shows me I get like 3 people watching my videos, and the real numbers are closer to 600,000. So it's amazing how they think that they're pulling the wool over my eyes, thinking I only have 3 viewers. We need a third party to stop the attacks by the New World Order to censor us, as well as raising issues with 5G, their safety, and of course the forced vaccination program that the Democrats and the Republicans are hell-bent on implementing. We need to figure out how to deal with the left, which is obviously upset about police brutality and social and racial injustice. I'm here to talk about systemic censorship as well as systemic problems within our society. But I'm not here to cater to BLM, an arm of the Muslim Brotherhood, a terrorist organization that is killing people, literally intimidating people, attacking people in streets. BLM is ostensibly homegrown terrorism, and that's all we can assume at this point. And it's being funded by George Soros. Now, I will be implementing a very strong plan to arrest George Soros for treason, for all the different paid rioters he's been supporting, and we have more than enough evidence to incriminate him. The Veritas organization has done an immense amount of work interviewing people that have been receiving money from George Soros directly. I understand that he's putting in ads in Craigslist, $250 a day to go protest, and I'm sure it includes throwing rocks. So that's seriously messed up. We cannot allow this, and the reason why Trump has allowed Soros to do this is because Trump is owned by George Soros. He owes him money. That's right. Now, nobody has a job plan like we do, involving new technology, solar rooftops, rebuilding and renovating old houses and making them look and feel new with brand new roofs that'll last 40 years, including a solar panel. Complete and utter vinyl siding or a really good paint job, one or the other, whichever applies. Complete Berber carpeting throughout, and sculpted yards that are low water usage, yet have all the niceties that you'd expect from a low upkeep yard. All of this is possible for a $50,000 house. Now, the government will be getting involved in flipping houses with this program. And the nice thing is I don't have to go through Congress to do this. It's already got money available in HUD to do just this. Now, why haven't they done this since? When Barack Obama was talking about shovel-ready jobs, we were wondering why Barack Obama couldn't come up with any new ideas. You know, I was tweeting today, quite a bit of tweets, in case you watch my tweets in the morning. Yeah, and there were a couple people, one rock and roll star, I'm not going to name his name, who really supports Obama and wishes he was back in power. And I was like, dude, out of defiance, I'm not going to listen to your one-hit song. I wrote him that. Barack Obama was and is a Muslim homosexual married to a transgender. And for all of you Democrats who say, oh, that's ridiculous, we could easily show you pictures of transgenderism in the form of Michelle dancing, revealing her body part on camera. But I'm not going to do that. That's a low blow, pun intended. The goal is to just keep people on the up and up that I was a Democrat. I'm not here to hate on you for voting for Barack Obama, even though he deceived you, and he was a CIA agent and all kinds of horrible things. He's also one of the richest men in the world, in case you didn't know that. His father, Lolo Soetoro, was the 15th richest man in the world, and he got it from ill-begotten means through CIA connections. But you don't want to hear about that. You want to hear about what I'm going to do to help fix the country. Now, first of all, getting the police defunded if they don't do sensitivity training will be just step one. We'll monitor the cities that refuse to do the sensitivity training, and we will bring in the National Guard when necessary, much like Brian Kemp just did in Atlanta, and things are under control. Thank you, Brian Kemp. Yeah, good guy. I didn't realize what a strong governor he was until he started dealing with the adversity in his state, and I must tell you, I like that guy a lot. Yeah, he's really a top person. I have not heard of the Jackery portable battery, but I can look it up really quick. Yeah. Portable workstation, power station. It's interesting, yeah. Jackery power products for, I guess, work or play. Look at that. They've got a nice website, jackery.com. There you go. Little portable solar panels. I like that. You know, I have a similar battery backup system which could easily plug in. It's very similar to this one. It's built by a different company, but yeah, these are really good for road trips, and you can put those solar panels in your car windows and charge up your battery as you go around. Yeah, we need this. I agree. Is it the same link? Okay, great. Yeah, definitely. We have something similar, Sarah and I do, but I like that. I think I might look at their solar panel because I'm looking, the solar panel that my company, they sold out. I'm looking for an alternative. Put it on your roof, not car windows. Yeah, but if you're driving down the road and you're facing the south and you're heading east, put it in your south-facing window and it'll charge up your battery on the road, and you've got backup battery on the road. You know, hello. Yes, the sun does rise, and it definitely has exposure on the south side of especially when you're crossing the country. All right, moving on. Twitch, how are you? Huh. It's weird. I started my Twitch show, but it doesn't seem to be coming in. Well, let's be clear. Yeah, not many people go to Twitch because I think they're keeping me down over there. They're holding the man down. There we go. Nobody's in the chat room. Wow. It's a political chat room. It's totally brain dead over there. Nobody cares about politics. They just want to go gaming. Well, you rarely find skin cancer in metal or plastic. So if you're wondering why skin gets skin cancer, it's because there are no metal cancers or plastic cancers they've detected. No, I never really wanted to get on top of a van at it going 100 miles an hour. Biden allies wage a shadow campaign to stop Kamala Harris from becoming vice president. People in the Democratic Party know what a sleazeball she appears to be. Yeah. Everyone knows she's like greasy. There's something weird about her. How did she rise to power so fast in California politics as Attorney General? I mean, everything looks and reeks to high heaven. Now she's moving closer to the presidency than ever before. Of course, Joe Biden has not exactly named her his vice president yet. But they say she's the only one on his list because he can only remember a couple names. And he's got this list to go over every day, reading the same thing over and over again. He sees that name a lot. So being he's suffering from advanced chronic brain syndrome, Alzheimer's disease, or some other dementia, Biden is unable to really make decisions without somebody helping him. He was seen walking around here being held. And I tweeted about this today. I couldn't believe it. This is the man who's going to save our nation from imminent doom in some of the worst times our country's ever faced. Look at how fallible he looks.
We're going to survive all the way through this whole thing.
Thanks, guys.
We're going to survive all the way through this whole thing.
Okay, now, literally had to be escorted like a child with his hand held by a staffer just so he wouldn't wander off to stop and talk with the reporters. You know how Alzheimer's patients will leave their hospital and wander down the street? Yeah, they do this all the time. I don't think Kamala Harris is cute. Are you the same group of people that think that Ocasio-Cortez is cute too? That's so funny. I see a woman who's torn. Her family's rejected her for smoking pot. If she were to become our VP, how the heck would that jive with Mr. Jive Turkey, Joe Biden, who doesn't like pot? How does that work? Now, I have no problem with the fact that she smokes pot. I mean, I'd even smoke a doobie with her. But the point of the matter is, this woman is not to be trusted. Her own family doesn't even like her. Hello? Earth to brain-dead voters. Okay, we've got a lot of fun talked here. Something went wrong in my Google News program. That's unusual. Now, Trump is really losing it. Like Biden, suffering from chronic brain syndrome. I think Donald Trump has been running his mouth off saying that write-in ballots really are not fair, and even so much as yesterday he started saying that he wanted to cancel the election because he didn't think write-in ballots were fair. Now that he's down 15 percentage points to the polls, Trump manages to, he says he might try to postpone the election, but then he's backtracking on that. He says, I don't want to delay. Trump rose back on delaying election, but not on mail-in ballots. He's still very convinced that they're rigging the election. Even though the Diebold voting system is hackable now. You have chronic brain syndrome? Wow, okay. It's CBS, Dr. Meow. It's called CBS. It's a technical medical term to describe your condition. I'm very sorry for you. Do you remember my name? My name's David. Something went wrong in the Matrix. Mr. Anderson. Something went wrong in the Matrix. Joe Biden turned into Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's instead of Bernie Sanders. Yeah, Weekend at Bernie's. I remember that scene where he's like walking around half dead. That was the voodoo knockout thing that was a funny movie. All right. Now, I'm glad many of you at iVlog have chosen not to chat. It's good. We're keeping iVlog down to a minimum amount of chat so that when people do come in there, they'll know that their chat is very private. So there you have it. If you want private chat, folks, go to iVlog. If you want to find it, you can go to coolrock.com. Now, coolrock.com is my central hub site where I feature all kinds of great stuff, including music, out of this world music. You can make your own music over there. If you want to just hang out, we can play some music right now, if that's okay with you. Yeah. All right, so yeah, chat is open over at iVlog. You can find us by going here and clicking the Allow Enabled Adobe Flash Player. And then the show comes right in and you can enter the chat room and be in iVlog and be the first to chat there. Isn't that exciting? Yeah. Better yet, I'm going to be the first to say hi. Okay, here's some music that I can play for you. This is from the Hazy Beat collection down on the board. And it's fun. So you can have lots of fun making music over there, and it's really kind of enlightening to have a site that does everything. You can listen to some of Scissor Fight's music here. If you click on this button right here, it'll play some of his cool original music that he's got lined up on his clipboard. Was that a chainsaw? I swear that's a chainsaw. Yeah. Great music on Scissor Fight's collection 1 and 2. You can click that. Hey, we got a boxcast going over here. Thank you. All right, on. Good. We're up and running. 7:31, all the way to the evening hour. Thank you, Scissor Fight. And thank you, Robin Lynn, for setting that up. Appreciate it. We are trying to break past the censorship that is hitting our country rapidly in every way. The most recent thing is the doctors that call themselves the frontline doctors came up with a great discussion, talked about a drug that was readily available up until the FDA banning it. It was used for over 60 years, and for some reason our government's decided to shut it down. And this drug could easily cure people of COVID-19. Why would our government shut down a drug that's easily being used by many doctors around the world and no problems asked? Because the government thought that they had a bad study that showed that the drug killed somebody? That study was bogus. It was actually been revealed to be bogus. Yet the media doesn't respond. The media doesn't think, oh, maybe a study could be bogus. The media immediately censors people like Donald Trump Jr., who now, he's back to tweeting now, but he had a 12-hour layover where he couldn't even talk on Twitter. Now, Herman Cain died of COVID today, and I tweeted condolences to his family. Herman Cain, of course, ran as a Republican with my idea, the flat tax idea, and he dropped it to 9%. I had a 10-10 plan. He dropped it to 9.9. And the flat fair tax idea he ran with, and he was famous for that. It was my idea, but I mean, I'm not going to take that away from him. He can take my idea to the grave. I don't care. Joe is basically a person who's basically holding the position for whoever flips into the VP position. We know that Kamala Harris is going to be the one. We know that. Politico released the whole story 5 days early, forgetting that they write their stories ahead of things. And they released it August 1st. It's been declared that Kamala Harris is the vice presidential choice. So if Biden were to pick anybody else now, it would reveal that he's actually smart and realizes he was outed. You know, if he picks anybody else, Stacey Abrams, Michelle Obama, but because we all know that Joe couldn't remember anybody, he had her name on the list and everybody saw it, we all know that he's going to pick Kamala Harris as his VP. So everything Joe does is telegraphed by his notes that he carries because he's got dementia. Isn't that nice? Our country's sliding into a toilet financially, no revenue whatsoever. A president that said, "It took the greatest economy in the world and shut it down. They told me to shut it down, so I shut it down." Biden says we could shut this down longer. Biden's okay with the economy being shut down. He actually agreed with Trump on that. It's like, what are you thinking? What's wrong with you people? Don't shut down an economy like ours, ever. Ever. That would have been the last resort if they were carrying people away in body bags. Not a preliminary decision. So clearly bad judgment is dominating our politics right now. Biden only does what they tell him to. He has no idea what his name is. I know. Exactly. Don't worry. But the GDP is the worst it's ever been. I don't know who you are up there, but hang in there, buddy. You're not upstate. How do I feel about OnlyFans? I don't even know who that is. Well, the fact that Bill Gates and Dr. Fauci get a pass, and Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx have put COVID positive people in nursing homes, and that's why the numbers of nursing home patients are dying is increasing. You know that that's complete murder, but nobody's charging with any crime. Donald Trump won't out any of these people for the mistakes they're making. He's still clinging to the idea that Dr. Birx and Dr. Fauci are really good at what they're doing. I mean, you couldn't be so far off base if you tried. Dr. Birx and Dr. Fauci are the most incompetent bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. Birx was known for having killed veterans left and right with bad vaccinations during the early 2000s. Now she's elevated to her highest level of incompetence, running this program to stick us with needles. Come on, people, you can do better than that. We should have built this third party 12 years ago. Seriously. I've been doing this for a long time. You just can't seem to understand the necessity of this. If they can lie to the American people with a simple statement on a video camera.
It's hard to believe this. But y'all, this is for real.
No, it isn't. It's a lot of BS. And the whole country's now held in hostage because of it. Dave, Brazil's President Bolsonaro credits hydroxychloroquine with helping him beat his COVID-19. Wow. Thank you, Mark. Well, if they've been able to get that drug to him, to, Herman Cain, you can imagine if he had lived, that would have been incredible, but nobody was allowed to give him that drug. I know Trump is very concerned about inaccuracy and fraudulent elections after Russia rigged the last election in favor of him. I know, he's so concerned. Okay, let's take a look at that story. Thank you for that. Yeah, an aspirin might help. Yeah, you never know. But I'm not providing any medical advice here or nutritional advice. Well, look at that. Now, you can't hide the news, folks. This is the Christian news, of course, but it is interesting to see a President Bolsonaro who is now doing very well. Remember, he was the one that said everyone in the country of Brazil should be armed. I know. He was telling people you can't allow a socialist takeover of Brazil, and now he's doing better. Congratulations, President Bolsonaro. I really like you. You're a good guy. Very impressive. You restore my faith in all of the South American nations, especially yours. So Trump wants to postpone the election. Can you imagine? Now that he's 15 points down in the polls against a guy with mental dementia. Dementia. Democratentia. It might be a common thing, Barack Obama seems a little out of it too. You can credit zinc. Yeah, zinc has got to be taken with that particular thing, but hey, we're not here to talk about remedies for this COVID-19. You figure it out. Dementia. Democratentia. I made up a new word. People who have actually lost their brains from libtardism are suffering from democratentia. Kind of like dementia, but slightly different. You eat copper? What do you wrap your lips around some copper piping in your house and lick? Did you see how many people were at the funeral today? Yeah, I did. Who could miss it? The pews were empty, but a lot of people who didn't understand the acerbic nature of the civil rights leader are now wondering, why was the church so empty? Well, maybe everyone's COVID spacing. Look at that. Isn't there a limit on church services? Yeah, it's not. They're not spacing in there. There's no 6-foot separation. Herman Cain, you're never ready for the kind of news we're all grappling in this morning, but we have no choice but to seek and find God's strength and comfort to deal. At Herman Cain, yeah. Yep. You know, I sent my condolences to Herman Cain, but there's something that John Lewis, when he's laid to rest, has made a lot of people a little bit not quite sure if John Lewis wasn't just a man who was racist in his own way. Yeah, and I have a hard time with the fact that so many civil rights people look down on white people systemically, have systemic racism against white people. I really find that very disturbing, and that people feel it's okay to call people like Dr. Meow a racist simply because he doesn't like Muslims. You know? Now, if Dr. Meow has a right to not like Muslim people, why should someone call him a racist for that? See what I mean? I'm not going to call you guys racist for not liking an entire religion because it isolates other religions and acts like anybody who doesn't believe as they do are infidels. How can you like somebody that thinks you're an infidel? So yes, had Herman Cain been able to get this FDA blocked drug that was mentioned earlier, I'm not going to say its name, he might have lived. And I wrote that on my Twitter today. I did. I tried to write my concerns for Herman Cain's health, even though he died. It's a little late, but you know. Thank you. I would make a very good president. I appreciate your vote of confidence, guest 611. But as you know, the mainstream media, they don't want an honest person to get any attention at all. Especially somebody who's fixated on their hair. Okay, you have now been in contact with over 24 doctors in favor of this drug. None of them will go on the record, though. 0. 2 of them wouldn't talk about it. Wow. Please, Mr. David, thank you for telling me about this. So people are finding that many doctors are afraid they're going to lose their practice if they mention this drug. The drug I can't mention. I hear you, Bengalitis, and I've been telling all of you, you should all pick up some tonic water. I mean, you can't lose with little tonic water when you're making your gin and tonic, right? It has a cousin of that drug called quinine. That's really heavy. J.D. Rucker. None of them. This is what big tech is doing. They have medical doctors terrified. Scary, isn't it? People won't even talk about it. I know. This is a pretty powerful tweet. 2 of them won't even talk about it on Twitter DM for fear of being outed. This is what big tech is doing. They have medical doctors terrified. Well, as I said last night, had Donald Trump signed the Fairness Doctrine back into law, he could kick Twitter down and shut them down. But he didn't do that. He didn't listen to my recommendations, and he's now toothless, powerless, impotent. Federal grand jury indicts Tennessee senator who allegedly stole $600,000 in federal grant money. Wow. You got the links. Here she is. We were wondering about this. Tennessee State Senator Katrina Robinson, 39, has now been indicted for theft and embezzlement. So she's going to jail. She took $500,000 in federal grant money, 600 grand. Well, it doesn't pay to cheat Uncle Sam, that's for sure. Unless, of course, you're corporations that own all the politicians, then you get away with it. Feinstein, China is growing into a respectable nation? No. We don't quote Feinstein. She had a limousine driver that literally took all of our state secrets and handed them to China and was never punished. Thank you for giving me the vote of confidence. I appreciate that. All right, we're going to remove that person from the show. There we go. I'll deal with the Darren Wilson case in a bit. Okay, you can slow down on the links here. I know. Chef Gordon Ramsay says Corona is a virus that affects more black people than white. Yep. You know, I don't know. It's just
it's what I've heard is that it's not necessarily about who it affects. It's more about the communities and
how
the
they
systemic
interact.
Issues that, you know, African Americans, when it hit their community, they still felt the pressure to work and to go out and continue working. Therefore, they they were more heavily infected, and yeah.
Well, you could argue that without having scientific proof, sure. Absolutely. Anyone could say anything about why they have a higher rate. They may have less type O blood because type O blood is more resistant. It's possible. I don't know. I don't know the type O blood that they have because that too is a factor. But if it's their lifestyle and they're working more and they're sharing germs more, sure. Herman Cain, who passed away today, folks, of COVID-19, he made a big splash in the media and pretty much called out Hillary's on Hillary Care. And here he was talking. Let's give him a little airtime.
I'd like to commend you on making health care a national priority. In your State of the Union speech, you indicated that 9 out of 10 Americans currently have health care insurance primarily through their employers. But for many, many businesses like mine, the cost of your plan is simply a cost that will cause us to eliminate jobs. On behalf of all of those business owners that are in a situation similar to mine, my question is quite simply, if I'm forced to do this, what will I tell those people whose jobs I will have to eliminate?
Are any of your employees insured now?
Yes, sir. Approximately 1/3 of my employees are insured now.
And of the third that are insured now, what percent of payroll is their insurance cost?
My insurance costs at the present time run approximately 2.5% of payroll.
And let me ask you this. On average, food service businesses, payroll is about 1/3 of the total cost of doing business. Is that about what it is?
That's an adequate estimation. Yes, sir.
Okay, so suppose, since you have part-time workers and some wouldn't have to cover it, so you wouldn't go from 2.5% of payroll to 7.9%. You might go to something like 6.5%. That's a good even number. You add 4% of payroll, and that's 1/3 of your total cost. So you would add about 1.5% to the total cost of doing business. Would that really cause you to lay a lot of people off if all your competitors had to do it too? And why wouldn't you all be able to raise the price of pizza 2%? I'm a satisfied customer. I'd keep buying from you.
Okay, first of all, Mr. President, with all due respect, your calculation on what the impact would do, quite honestly, is incorrect. Now let's suppose that 30% of my costs are labor costs. 7.9 times that would be the 2 to 2.5% that you're referring to. The problem with that calculation, sir, is the fact that most of those 30% of the people currently have zero. It actually works out to be approximately 16%. Now, your other point about having to pass it on to my customers, in the competitive marketplace, it simply doesn't work that way because the larger competitors have more staying power before they go bankrupt than a smaller competitor. So what I'm saying and suggesting is that the assumptions about the impact on a business like mine are simply not correct, because we are very labor intensive. We have a large number of part-time and short-term employees that we do not cover for one simple reason: we can't afford it.
Let me ask you a favor. Would you send to me personally your calculations? Because I know we got to go on to other questions.
Mr. President.
Exactly, and I want to say that Herman Cain was a sober fiscal conservative who really did represent a certain class of Republican that really is addressing these hard questions that were brought up. You know that Bill Clinton wasted $72 million just finding out how unequal our healthcare system was? In 2000, when he left office, he spent $72 million on assessments, not fixing the healthcare system, just to decide who gets better and who gets worse healthcare. That's a huge waste of money. Massive waste of money that Bill Clinton did. Bill Clinton made a lot of decisions when he left office that were very bad for this country. Do you know that every single time a kid is taken from their home by CPS, because of Bill Clinton, the CPS organization gets $4,500 minimum as a bonus to pull a family apart and take a kid from their home. And in some states like Ohio, they get up to $30,000 as a perk to yank a kid out of a family's house and put him in foster care. That's just crazy, and that's all because of Bill Clinton. It's almost like he's enabling child abductions by organizations. It's wrong. Okay, I'm going to give you Sarah's, and she's going to give me some break time here. Yeah, it is. We do shows on topics every night that cover issues. I always deal with the dangers of radiation from devices and things that would normally, you'd think the government would tell you, don't hold the device near your head. And this past week, I was looking at Sarah's, her little phone, and I said, Sarah, let's just take a second look at this phone. And we have a really good EMF meter. And initially it was okay from a distance, and I got closer to it, and it was like spiking, and the buzzer was going off. I said, don't hold that next to your body when it's on. And she's been very good in holding it away from her when she listens to her shows. If you keep it like 2-3 feet away, you're much better off than putting it next to your body, because top epidemiologists have said that these cell phones can affect DNA. I'm just giving you a good solid public service announcement that's not official, okay? Try to avoid putting it next to your body when it's on. Seriously. All right, on that note, I give you the show to Sarah. I'm going to take a quick break. We pause the show, and I'll be right back. All right, we were reviewing some of the local ballot initiative people in my area. This man prefers a Libertarian Party, and I think that's great. I'm probably going to vote for him because I like the fact that Libertarians want reduced government. I don't want bigger government. It's costing too much, and the Democrats in my area in Washington really are wasting tons of money. So yeah, welcome everybody. You can post, sure, anything on Epstein, absolutely. So there's a seaweed extract that's more effective than remdesivir. I knew it. COVID-19 is looking at alternative methods to beat it. And they can't keep every alternative method down. So there's lots of people ruminating on the idea of using products that are made naturally that boost your immunity, your personal immunity. New research concludes that extracts from seaweed could be more effective than remdesivir. I think remdesivir is a bit severe, and it's too costly too, my goodness. And that alternate therapy that they came up with, that's been used for 60 years, that we can't talk about because we'll be censored if we do. Yeah, that's really cheap and effective. Unreal. Eventually, everyone will be saying, yeah, have you tried that thing we're not supposed to talk about? Yeah, it could have helped Herman Cain. He died today. I shut down the greatest economy in the world. They told me to shut it down, so I shut it down. I like Dr. Teal's green tea bath. Yeah, we bought some of that. I got the green tea bath over at Fred Meyer. We were running out of Epsom salt, so I just went ahead and got that. It smells really nice. Yeah, I think if you do that, you get the aromatherapy in your lungs, and it might, who knows, it might help. I say sit under a hot shower every 2-3 hours. That's 130 degree water. That's a lot. 130 degrees. Don't burn yourself, but your friend can do a good dinero. That's good. Dr. Teal is just a brand name. And green tea is the infusion that they use. It's pretty cool. Well, green tea is good for your skin. It's good for prevents pimples. You name it. Yeah, if you put a green tea pack on your pimple, it might go away. I'm not saying it will, because then I'd be giving you medical advice. Zinc enemas? I don't know. That sounds a little bit weird, but hey, I'm not here to recommend anything. Just sit here and be an inert object, maybe catatonic if necessary. Hello. All I'm saying is De Niro's he's a made guy, you know. He's one of the good fellas. He's protected. Even saying bad things about Donald doesn't seem to bother him with some of the people, you know, in the made sector of Manhattan. Yeah. Yeah, love is blind, marriage is an eye-opener. My dad used to say that. And divorce is cataract surgery. I came up with that. But love is blind, marriage is an eye-opener, and divorce is cataract surgery. Wow, tripled his premiums and his deductibles. Yeah, the Affordable Care Act Obama created was just a way in which the big pharmaceutical companies and the medical insurance companies could make more money. Well, make no mistake about it. We're going to give everybody more money, and you'll be guaranteed insurance. If you have a pre-existing condition, you can have insurance. Except it'll be a hell of a lot more expensive. And it'll be a $10,000 deductible. He didn't tell you that, did he? I don't want to do De Niro's impersonation. That guy's a god. No, I would never want to impersonate him. He's too amazing. Yeah, he does De Niro better than anybody I've ever seen. I heard Obama was bringing up politics during a funeral. I see that. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about that. We know that Barack Obama is crack user. We know that. Oh, I know. There's a video where they're laughing about deceiving the public with the Affordable Care Act. I know. I don't have that video. If you have it, Ron, that'd be pretty cool. You know that the Affordable Care Act was written in a prison cell by a guy literally serving a 10-year sentence for tax evasion? Over 600 pages of it were written in the prison cell of a guy cheating the system and getting caught. I know, I hate the politicians too. Just listening to them is like blah, 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 blah.
I'm Maya Espinoza, running for Superintendent of Public Instruction. Our kids deserve better. And right now, we have the chance.
I'm not voting for you, Maya. No. I like this guy.
And a master's degree in child development from the University of Washington. I spent 20 years teaching courses in problem solving at Bellevue College. Here are just a few of many serious problems inflicted on our schools and our kids by the current batch of politicians in Olympia. 1. Forced harmful vaccination of children against the will of their parents.
Okay, you got my vote. You got my vote. I'm voting for you, David. I'm going to write you're on the ballot. That's good. David Spring, everybody. All right. Big round of applause. Only elite get to have funerals. Everybody else isn't even allowed to see their grandparents in the hospital. Oh, I know. You got a COVID space. You're not even allowed to visit your elderly family members who are purposely being exposed to COVID-19 by orders of Dr. Fauci. Yeah, Dr. Fauci is sending all COVID positive people into nursing homes. I repeat, he is sending people who are dangerous and spreading a disease into the most vulnerable place on earth. And it's still a standing order. I'm serious. I'm not kidding. This is how unresponsive government is. You have a link you posted. I will check it out. Is it about the evildoers.
You'll
Oh yeah,
be ple-
Ricky Gervais at the Golden Globes. All of his bits chained. That's really good. Yeah, we do know that some people like Ricky Gervais have made it very clear that he thinks that there's a cabal of pedophiles in Washington and Hollywood. And we'll be playing this video tonight in our video lineup. Thank you for that. And I'll also put it in Pedogate, my playlist. Yeah, we keep a playlist. This is up till the end of the month. We'll be going into the 8th month in a couple days. Hey. Chain of Fools. Pedogate is another category we use. Okay, there you go. Thank you for the link. I'll take it. So this could be interesting. Yeah, new research includes that extracts from seaweed could be more effective than remdesivir. Well, antiviral decoys often work differently. Rather than damaging the virus's outer membrane, they bind with the component that attaches to the host cells. When this occurs, the virus is disarmed and cannot infect cells to replicate itself. This is how the current leading SARS-CoV-2 antiviral drug remdesivir works. However, this matter of combating viruses leaves room for improvement. As Professor Jonathan Nordick of the Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York, says, "We're learning how to block viral infection, and that is knowledge, and we will need it if we want to confront pandemics rapidly." Good for him. All right, we've got some top quality people working on seaweed solutions. Okay, if you want to see that news link, I'll give it to you over there at DLive. Here you go, Ron. Oh, a friend of yours had a brother who passed away last month, and she was only able to view his body from her vehicle. Had a drive-through funeral. Oh my God, that is so sad. Wow. The exceptions they are making for themselves is just showing how much they're over-exaggerating this virus. So true. Good point. Yeah. So when when the officials don't social distance and they pull their mask off, like Fauci did at the baseball match when he's sitting next to somebody, he's talking with his mask off, but he stands out in front of all these people at a distance and he had his mask on. It's absurd. So there's a lot of weird inconsistencies going on by our government officials. I will agree with you on that. So what I also do is whenever I have a link, I put it in my Flipboard, which is another thing I have. And if you want to check out our Flipboard library, it is available. This one I'll put in coronavirus news. Nope, I'm sorry, I'm going to put it in vaccines. Yeah, because it's an alternative to vaccines. Yeah. Drive-through funeral is not a new thing. I know, but it's still kind of sad when you think about it. There's another guy running for office. Republican. Sarah was looking at our local election. Herman Cain died. There was a very little COVID spacing at the Lewis funeral, as you can see right there. President Bolsonaro credits hydroxy with helping him beat his COVID-19 situation. That's interesting. And some Biden allies wage a war campaign to stop Kamala Harris. Absolutely. She doesn't appear to be a person who is 100%. And this was a big, huge interview last night. We didn't cover much of it, but it was Apple, Amazon, Facebook, and Google all gathered together in a Senate subcommittee hearing talking about the future of technology. And people were asking questions that weren't really that relevant. You got video down? Okay.
$1 trillion, more than that of Walmart, Target, Salesforce, IBM, eBay, and Etsy combined. Apple is a dominant provider of smartphones with more than 100 million iPhone users in the United States alone. In addition to hardware, Apple sells services and apps including financial services, media, and games. Facebook is the world's largest provider of social networking services, with a business model that sells digital ads. Despite a litany of privacy scandals and record-breaking fines, Facebook continues to enjoy booming profits, $18 billion last year alone. Lastly, Google is the world's largest online search engine, capturing more than 90% of searches online. It controls key technologies and digital ad markets and enjoys more than 1 billion users across 6 products, including browsers, smartphones, and digital maps. Prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, these corporations already stood out as titans in our economy. In the wake of COVID-19, however, they're likely to emerge stronger and more powerful than ever before. As American families shift more of their work, shopping, and communication online, these giants stand to profit. Locally owned businesses, meanwhile, mom and pop stores on Main Street, face an economic crisis unlike any in recent history.
So true, so true. So they talk to the big technocrats who have no way of relating to this. Now, if you guys have a problem with our stream, I urge you to go to our backup video, HTML video, which is over here at DLive. Yeah. So we had to refresh it, Vaughn, but if you're having problems with the connection, it's typical of Mark to do that. Okay, here's another one about Donald Trump. So we'll play more of that interview with the big technocrats later, but it's pretty dry stuff. And most of the questions from government are very irrelevant to what the real issues are about shared information on the internet. You're getting the frozen screen? Yeah. Doctor touted by Trump believes alien DNA is in medicine and demon dream sex is an actual problem. Okay. You know, people have different views and they can still be doctors. I mean, that woman has an odd background, this woman who was Stella, Emmanuel. She had a very interesting mixed background, but clearly she's very intelligent. And, we're not here to judge people based on their religious or odd views. When it comes to their knowledge of science, that's what matters most. Donald doesn't have a knowledge of science, so he has to rely on anybody who can give him bits and pieces of information. If she happens to be a voodoo witch doctor, so be it. Umbrella Man that's not a real story. They never named the Umbrella Man. Because they can't name the Umbrella Man, it's just an off story by the CIA to try to take our mind away from Jacob Peterson, who was the man who carried the umbrella. And the St. Paul police have not given any information about his whereabouts and alibi for that day. They said they had it, but they haven't presented anything. The Umbrella Man might as well be the Cinderella Man. Until they name that person, it's nothing. I noticed that Trump is sweating a lot. That's not uncommon with the drug that he's taking. Now, against the law, apparently he's not allowed to take that drug. The FDA banned it. So Donald Trump is committing a felony by taking that drug. Yeah. I can't talk about that drug. No, it's a symptom of the drug. Well, are you saying, is Donald Trump on drugs? That's a bit of a stretch, don't you think?
Please, y'all stay inside. This is real, y'all. This is coming right down.
So, to say that Donald Trump is on some sort of a drug is an understatement. He's on an entire pharmacy. In fact, that's all he can talk about. The past couple of days, he's been talking about, I'm going to have more drugs made in America. We're going to be helping with drugs. All he does is tweet about drugs now. Have you noticed that? He's not doing a damn thing to help lower the price of drugs, but he says he is, so that makes it right in his mind. That was a very nice burnt sandwich I made today. Yes. I was not that bad. It was, I pretty much ended my use of the Snack Master. The screen is freezing every couple minutes. Yes, we are under attack. We are under attack. Today, Donald asked everybody to give him blood. Is Donald really losing it? I mean, is he completely unraveled yet? I know. It's the DDoSers. Not the dossier, it's the DDoSers. It's not the dossier, it's the DDoSers. That's the big point here. Well, you know, he doesn't drink. He just...
Some shocking new videos.
He does apparently a lot of something. We're not sure what. But one doctor said his pupils are so dilated, chances are he's on something. It could be that drug that we're not allowed to talk about. Yeah, who wants to be able to go to the bathroom without, you know, Depends underwear? That would be the presidential race of 2020. It's not that Fauci doesn't run the CDC. The CDC takes advice from Dr. Fauci in that he's one of the key task force people here. Right. And because Dr. Fauci's decision to put COVID positive people in nursing homes is an act of murder, he will be responsible for that. Next. Trump's brother drank to help the trauma of a traumatic childhood. Well, his father, Fred, called the older brother, acted like a taxi driver. He demeaned him constantly. Yeah, he said you're basically as worthless as a taxi driver. So what if Trump hired somebody to take his SATs? Is that so wrong after all? Yes, I'll gladly show you my tax returns. No problem. Except I'm going to be mounting countless attacks and legal offenses against you. But no problem. I gladly show them to you. eBay, what do you got? Vintage Snackmaster for $24.99. Folks, I have one. And this is used condition. I know now what to price mine out. Thank you so much. This is an exciting day for me to know that my Snackmaster is now worth amazing $24.99 plus $15.99 shipping. Well, at least I'll have $24.99 when I sell it someday. No, that's not me. That's somebody else. I'm back. What a deal. Okay, you got some more questions there, Ron? Jonathan Gruber has something. Dave, you missed a 51-minute movie about the... I didn't even see it. Sorry. Oh, thank you for reminding me, Insane Canadian. Oh, that's the one, and then the other one. Okay. The video the MSM will never show you. The massive violence BLM and Antifa have brought the past 2 months. Good. Thank you very much, Insane Canadian. We'll play that tonight. Yep, starting at the top of the hour. Yeah, that'll be just nonstop violence starting at the top. 2 teens were shot dead while playing basketball at a New York City park, folks. It's just Donald Trump's lawlessness that he created by not doing anything for so long and then now overreacting. You got to wonder. You know, he could have called the National Guard in Minneapolis. He did nothing. You know, Biden would not have done anything, that's for sure. And Bryan Cranston of Breaking Bad reveals he has coronavirus and urges people to follow the rules. Wow, okay, thanks for sharing.
Show you, it shows the moment a gunman opens fire on basketball players from the sunroof of a car going by in Brooklyn. 2 teenagers were killed. Now cops searching for the suspects after another weekend of gun violence, insanity, and death in New York City. 8 people killed in this city yesterday alone. Here's Eyewitness News reporter Dave Evans.
Late today, police released surveillance video of yesterday's shooting when a suspect stood through the roof of a black SUV and fired. at teenagers playing basketball on a court in Cypress Hill. 2 teenagers were killed. 16-year-old Clymer Mendez died Sunday, and 18-year-old Antonio Villa lingered, then died today.
Strong, determined young men. They had goals. They wanted to become something better than the basic statistic. They were working on it.
Today, the police commissioner blamed a non-functioning court system, saying there are 2,100 open gun cases in the city and many suspects not prosecuted at all.
Half of them indicted, and almost all of them are walking around next to you and me every day on the streets. It is not disputable.
This was yet another violent weekend, at least 15 shootings and 7 homicides on Sunday alone. Today, the mayor blamed the dramatic uptick in shootings on many problems all at once: the pandemic and a deep recession.
You cannot take all these dislocations and add them one on top of another and all the frustration and pain that people have been through and expect business as usual.
Police are now targeting troublesome blocks in specific neighborhoods. Their crackdown began 2 weeks ago, but the shootings have continued in both parks and playgrounds.
It could have been anyone. Everybody had their own dirt in this park. But for it to come down to a shootout where there's kids playing, that's not right.
That's too bad. Wow. Tragic. And this has been going on in various other cities as well, these types of drive-bys. All urged on by George Soros, who pays people to literally take pictures of people killing others and beating people up. That's my deep suspicion that Antifa is being ramped up to another level. Okay. De Blasio is extremely liberal. Yeah. I know he's pushing agendas of people going out protesting and violating social space laws, violating his own social space laws, acting as though that's an exemption, that's okay. Completely unfair and completely biased, partisan. Everything about de Blasio reeks of partisanship. I agree. Okay, we're looking at that story. Got a couple links coming in from Scissor Fight. Face mask exemption on steroids, your tool to sue. Apparently, many lawyers are getting out there and saying,
"Hi, everybody.
There's numerous cases now, civil cases, where people feel like their oxygen is being restrained. Hey, Zenetril. Their oxygen is being restrained, and they're losing brain cells while they're at work. I mean, there's all kinds of potential lawsuits regarding OSHA violations, because OSHA requires 19.5% oxygen, and most of these masks give us about 17.5. So we know that there's going to be some big legal problems. Well, one of those experts on the subject is going to talk tonight.
These two, what are being called people on the screen here.
Now, we don't know if Bill Gates and Melinda Gates are the same people as they were years ago. Many people are wondering if they haven't been replaced. I don't know if the black people hate Trump at all. I see Trump as a predictable force in American politics now that they've allowed him to violate numerous laws and continue being a big, almost dictator-style president. Many people are now debating whether they can trust a man who's babbling and unable to make literally make a statement and sense out of that statement. Biden is losing a lot of people in terms of the way he talks, whereas Trump still has an edge. He still comes off, repeating the same things over and over again, but it's still Donald Trump. We're beginning to wonder if we're looking for a predictability in a president, or we're looking for some guy who's just going to implement some sort of a communist plan like Biden. Really? I mean, it's coming down to that. Do we want Trump, 4 more years of Trump? Or do we want a third party, which would unite us? Or do we want Biden, who will push us closer to left-wing politics and communism? So big questions to ask in this election. Yeah, some people like to call Trump racist. They get off on it. It doesn't really matter. I mean, the fact is you're entitled to talk about anybody any way you want. You have free speech. And if somebody wants to call somebody a word, they can call them a word, and they then get racist returned, whatever. It's all about communication. When I was a kid, we used to, name call in out there in the field. Everybody call each other names, right? You did it in school too, right? Well, there was an old saying, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me or kill me. Yeah. And that's an old adage that you have to realize that we have freedom of speech. They're not going to hurt you by calling you a name. But the Democrats want to make any type of hate speech illegal in a country that has free speech. Makes no sense at all. So people are recommending glory hole, safe sex, recommended. I don't know. That's a little too weird for me to imagine, but health officials are recommending glory holes for safe sex during the pandemic. Okay, see what I mean about the liberalism of America? You can only imagine, how anyone could think that's okay. That'll play tonight in our show.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, unfortunately. PK Censored is making fun of it because it's really ridiculous. The leftist agenda is telling people that they should use glory holes for sex. I just find that absolutely over the top. Shock CBS experiment proves mail ballots could be disaster.
I've got my mailing ballot right here.
Yeah,
and I just want to show people how many people are running for governor.
Wow, look at all the people running for governor in Washington.
Like the middle list is everyone just running for governor.
Everybody wants to be governor. Everybody wants to be governor. No, that's just a ballot. It's ridiculous. Sarah's doing some close, detailed work on some of the people running. Isn't that special? So we got a couple videos coming up tonight there. Thank you. The massive violence BLM and Antifa have brought the past 2 months. Thank you, Insane Canadian. Appreciate it.
Did you get rid of the links I had?
Yeah, I did. You'll have to bring it out of memory. There's something on wankers. Okay. And 2020 U.S. MRE menu, 20 sausage, peppers, and onions, bacon list, comparison test. Oh, some guy took MREs and decided to compare food quality. Okay. That's kind of like my cooking show today. We're not going to play any of those videos. That guy monetizes, Trevor. If I played that video right now, YouTube would charge me. That's just a reality we have to live with. Sorry. Petition, no to mandatory vaccinations for coronavirus. I'll sign that. Thank you very much. That's good. Already 734,000 people have signed this petition to say no mandatory vaccinations. I will sign it for sure tonight. Thank you for that link. And Mark has hundreds of teens go on a chaotic rampage at the Memphis Putt-Putt Center. The Memphis Putt-Putt Center. Okay, so this is Teens Gone Wild. Let's take a look at this. Rampage. They've been locked in their house too long and they're pissed off. This is for real, folks.
I'm right here now, right here outside the hospital.
This is for real. Look at this. Rampage. Let's go with audio. Well, she's kind of like a young girl. I mean, she's like 14 years old or so. Well, isn't that special? Apparently they didn't get the right blend. Was it medium rare or medium on their steaks? They were a little upset. All right, thank you for that link to the petitions for no vaccinations there, Scissor Fight. Appreciate it, man. Oh, you want a proof that Soros pays for protesters to a major news source? You won't be able to find it. No, none of the news stories in America will cover that subject because Soros is a media mogul. Yeah, he has total protection. You'll never get a single mainstream media news story to show you that. I would recommend going to Veritas, and there's about 5 or 6 hidden camera interviews with people that work for Soros. There was a posted yesterday, they found Craigslist ads supporting Soros. $250 a day you get as a protester, and they're ordering people. Yeah, literally, they're trying to hire people on Craigslist. That link isn't working for me right now, Scissor Fight. Maybe it's because it's got the smiley face in it or something. Thanks. Face mask dangers. Wow. So what happens when you wear a face mask? Well, decreased oxygen, which can lead to hypoxia. Increased CO2, which can lead to hypercapnia. Physiological stress, which can increase sympathetic responses, increasing cortisol. Fight or flight. Can increase pulse rate and blood pressure. It suppresses immune system, which can increase susceptibility and increase risk for developing a life-threatening situation in respiratory disease or heart conditions. This is Dr. Ashton Joyce, NMD, that gives us this helpful tip. So many of the people who are wearing face masks by law could veritably sue their state government if they start feeling like they have a hypoxia or something. Anybody who's got a serious breathing issue or advanced respiratory illnesses that is forced to wear an air mask could theoretically sue for millions of dollars. So almost every state government now, especially the Democratic ones, are open to lawsuits. Is video flicking out here? Is that what's happening? I mean, I see welcome back, David. I assume that the video signal is really suffering quite a bit.
Dumb shit. Go ahead. You're the racist. I am.
Man in New York is triggered by someone wearing a Black Lives Matter mask. Okay. So it says Black Lives Matter on it, on the mask, and this guy is being triggered by the mask. Here we go. Watch this and learn how not to behave.
Thanks. I'm a goddamn war vet. He's a war vet. And what are you, a college punk that don't even know what time it is? Really? And that's because I wore a Black Lives Matter mask. Yes, because you're a goddamn racist. Cool, buddy. You are a racist. Okay. You call me a racist, you're a racist. I never called you a racist. I said Black Lives Matter, buddy. I suppose you kneel for the flag, too. I said Black Lives Matter, and you are so triggered because I had a mask that says Black Lives Matter because I value black lives. Clearly.
You know, people are really behaving very well. I want to congratulate those two men for not,